What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Kevin Sawa, and I'm on a mission to help new developers understand how to build cross-platform mobile applications with React Native. If you have been following along at this point, you should have built out the movie screens, you have completed the movie screens, and also completed the integration of the API with TMDB. And you now have everything set up on the home page, the movies tab, the TV series tab. And when you press on the movie, it should take you to the details of that particular movie. Well done if you have made it up to this point. In today's video, you're going to be doing something a little different. What we are going to be doing here in today's video is to be adding some slight animations to the movie card. Okay, so as you can see right now, everything is fine, but we can still make it better. When you go to the movie card, let's say you go to the movie tab, you realize how it loads in. It just stays blank before it pops in. And that's not a very good user experience, right? We want to have something in place of the image before the image loads in. And while the image is loading in, you want it to fade in or to sort of animate in to give a sense of a good user experience to the user that is going to be using your app, basically. So that's just a slight improvement we are going to be adding to this video. This is actually a bonus episode that I decided to put in there, to chip in there, to make use of React Native Reanimated, library to add some animations to our components. Now, if this sounds interesting, do want to hit the like button, and if you are new to this channel, do want to subscribe to this channel to help this channel grow, and I'm going to appreciate that a lot. So let's dive right into it. So what we are going to be doing first of all is to head over to the movie card. And what we are going to be doing here is simply make some adjustments to how we are using the image over here. Okay, so right now, as you can see, we simply have the image here, and we are saying we have passed the styles to it, and then the source. Okay, if we have the image, we pass the image. If we don't, we use the default image. Now this is okay, this will work, but we can make it better, right? Because the image might be there, but the image is not done loading in. And at that point, the screen will be blank. Okay, you only see the text, the title, and then the genre, but you don't see the image. But even though we have the URL, it's there that the image is still loading. That is what is happening, right? So whilst the image is loading, we want to set a default image over there, so that once the image is downloading, then the actual image gets placed in. Okay, the actual image gets placed in. And whilst it's being placed in, we add in some slight animation to it to make it look good. All right, so the first thing we are going to do now is to create a state, okay, a use state hook that is going to hold the state of the image load. So what I'm simply going to say is, let's just use the use state snippet here. And then we are going to see image loading. Set image loading. Let's make sure I'm importing the use state from React. And then the default value is going to be true. Okay, so the image loading value is going to be true. You're going to see why in a bit. Now, when you come down to the image load, the image part here, what we are going to do here now is that we are going to see if image is loading, right? If the image is loading, we are going to pass in this image, but it's going to be a default image. Okay, so in fact, let me duplicate this, but before that, let's pass the second side here, and let's duplicate this and pass this in here like so. Okay, so what we want to do here now is that if the image is loading, the source is going to be the default image, this default image here. So let me clear these items over here like this. So when the image is loading, we are simply going to make the source the default image. Once the image is done loading, then and only then we can now pass the actual image, the actual image part over here like so. Okay, good. But then you ask, how are we going to know when the image is loading and when it's done loading? Because as you can see, the image loading value here is already set to true. Okay, it's already set to true because we know that it's going to take a brief second or a very quick brief seconds for the image to be done loading. So in the meantime, whilst it's loading, we want it to display this default image. So at which point are we now going to set it to false? Because right now, you see, as you can see, because the image loading is already set to true, now all the images are now showing this blank card, the default image, right? It's not showing just the default image. You're not having the actual image. That's because this image loading is still set to true. Okay, so at which point do we want to set the image loading to false, so that it now shows the actual image of the movie card? That's why we're going to do something a bit hacky over here. We're going to add in another image component here, right? So for this image, we're simply going to use the same source that we have here. Can just use the same source that we have here, like so. And then for the style also, we can use the same style here. Pass it like this. But the only thing with this is that what we are going to do here is we are simply going to see, we are going to see that the position of this particular image should be absolute, right? And then the opacity should be 0. So this means that this image, even though it is there, it's not going to be showing on the UI. You're not going to be seeing this image on the UI because it has a position of absolute and the opacity is 0, which means it's not going to be visible to the screen. Okay, but then it is there. Why is it there? We need this image to set this state to false once the image is downloading, because it all has the getting the image from the same source. So once the image is done loading, then and only then we can set it to false. And once the state is set to false, then this image is now going to be able to show. Okay, so let's just do this. You understand what I'm saying? So we are going to say that we add another prop here, say on load, which means once the image that we have passed here, which is this URI, once the URI is done loading, we pass in a function. So this function, what it's simply going to do is we're going to say set image loading to false here. Okay, so it means that this dummy image, this hidden image that we've added, is going to handle changing the state of the image loading from true to false once the image is done loading. Once we are done downloading this image URI, then once it's set to false, then this image gets to be displayed. So let's reload this so that we see what is happening now. Come to the page. Good. So as you can see, now the card shows, you see this image is still loading. So instead of having a blank screen, it is now showing this card in here, like so. Okay, so that is what is happening. That is what we are doing here. So when the image is loading, instead of showing a blank screen, it shows the default image, as you can see over there.